General Maximus Decimus Meridius, Russell Crowe, leads his Roman soldiers to victory against Germanic barbarians in 180 AD, bringing an end to a long war and earning the respect of aging Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Richard Harris. Because Marcus Aurelius is set to pick his successor, the emperor's son Commodus, Joaquin Phoenix, and daughter Lucilla, Connie Nielsen, have been summoned to join the campaign. Commodus greets Maximus as brother, knowing that he will be chosen. Lucilla and Maximus obviously had a love relationship in the past. Commodus is anxious that seeing him again may bother her. Lucilla has since married, had a son, and been widowed. Marcus informs Lucilla that he invited her to come because her brother, who adores her, will soon require her more than before. Marcus picks the morally upright Maximus as his successor, with the expectation that Maximus will eventually restore the Roman Republic by restoring Senate power. Maximus attempts to deny the honor, wishing to return home to his wife and kid, but Marcus Aurelius believes that Maximus is the best man for the role since he does not want it. After a tearful discussion in which Commodus accuses his father of failing to recognize his qualities and never adoring him, Commodus admits that all he ever wanted was his father's love and acceptance, and then he smothers him. Commodus declares himself emperor and asks Maximus for his fealty, which Maximus declines due to Commodus' complicity in Marcus Aurelius' death. Commodus orders Maximus' arrest and execution, as well as the murder of Maximus' wife, Joannina Fazio, and infant son, Giorgio Cantarini. Maximus escapes execution and rushes home, only to find his family's burnt and crucified carcasses in the smoldering ashes of his villa. After burying his wife and son, a distraught Maximus collapses on their graves from tiredness. Slave merchants capture Maximus and transport him to Zanzibar, a rocky North African province, where he is acquired by Proximo, Oliver Reed, the leader of a gladiator school. Distraught and nihilistic as a result of his family's death and his empire's treachery, Maximus initially refuses to fight, but as he defends himself in the arena, his strong combat abilities gain him popularity with the audience. Maximus meets Hagen, Ralph Moeller, a Germanic barbarian, and Juba, Jimin Hunsu, a Numidian hunter, while he trains and fights. Juba becomes a close confidant and companion to the bereaved Maximus, and the two constantly discuss the afterlife and Maximus' future reunion with his family. Commodus reopens the gladiatorial games in Rome to celebrate his father's death, declaring 150 days of celebration in an attempt to capture the Roman people's hearts. Proximo's gladiator company is contracted to take part. Proximo informs Maximus that his fighting skills will not be enough in Rome, he must also capture the affections of the crowd. Maximus is first opposed to playing to the audience, but Proximo explains that it could save his life, revealing that he was a gladiator who was freed by Emperor Marcus Aurelius after acquiring popularity. He shows Maximus the wooden sword he received at the time. Maximus is initially skeptical, "You knew Marcus Aurelius," but realizes that this tactic may get him near enough to Commodus to exact his retribution. Maximus leads Proximo's gladiators to a decisive victory against a more formidable force in a reconstruction of the Battle of Zama, incorrectly titled the Battle of Carthage, at the Colosseum, much to the delight of the audience. Commodus enters the arena to meet the victors and is astounded to learn that Proximo's gladiators are led by Maximus. Because the crowd shouting approval for Maximus prevents the emperor from killing him, he gives the thumbs up sign, allowing Maximus to live, and sulks out of the arena. Commodus continues the games by pitting Maximus against Tigress of Gaul, Svenel Thorson, Rome's only undefeated gladiator, in an arena ringed by chained tigers whose handlers are told to target Maximus. Maximus narrowly overcomes Tigress and awaits Commodus' judgment whether to kill or spare Tigress. Though Commodus votes for death, thumbs down, Maximus spares Tigress, purposefully humiliating the emperor and gaining the support of the audience. With his bitter rival now known as Maximus the Merciful, Commodus gets increasingly irritated with his inability to murder Maximus or stop his rising popularity, while his own popularity declines. Following the battle, Maximus runs into his former servant Cicero, Tommy Flanagan, who informs him that Maximus' army is still loyal to him. They have set a camp at the port of Ostia. Lucilla, afraid of her brother's instability and incestuous ambitions, conspires with Maximus and Senator Gracchus, Derek Jacobi, to reunite Maximus with his army and depose Commodus. Commodus, on the other hand, learns of his sister's betrayal from her little son Lucius, Spencer Treat Clark, and threatens her to divulge the conspiracy. Praetorian soldiers rush into Proximo's gladiator barracks, fighting the gladiators while Maximus flees. During the siege, Hagen and Proximo are killed, while Juba and the survivors are imprisoned. Maximus flees to the city walls, only to be intercepted by a group of Praetorian soldiers who use Cicero as bait, killing him as soon as Maximus appears. Commodus personally challenges Maximus to a combat in front of a screaming audience, concluding that legends born in the Colosseum must die there. Recognizing that Maximus' talent exceeds his own, Commodus stabs Maximus with a stiletto, puncturing his lung, and concealing the wound behind the gladiator's armor. In the arena, the two exchange blows before Maximus takes Commodus' sword from his grasp. Commodus asks his guards for a sword, but they refuse to lend him their weapons. Maximus lays down his sword, but Commodus pulls out a hidden stiletto and renews his attack. Maximus then subdues Commodus and murders him with his own stiletto. A dying Maximus sees his wife and kid in the afterlife as Commodus collapses in the now silent Colosseum. He reaches for them, but is stopped by the Praetorian prefect Quintus, Tomas Arana, who requests instructions. Maximus orders the release of Proximo's gladiators and Senator Gracchus, whom he reinstates and commissions to spearhead the return of authority to the Senate. Rome will once again be a republic, as Marcus Aurelius intended. Lucilla rushes to Maximus' side as he collapses. Maximus dies and goes into the afterlife to his home and family in the distance after being reassured that her son is safe and Commodus is dead. Senator Gracchus and the gladiators of Proximo carry his body out of the Colosseum. That night, a newly liberated Juba buries Maximus' two little sculptures of his wife and son in the Colosseum, in the patch of Maximus' blood, and declares that he, too, would one day join them, but not yet.